Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports live watch along of the Formula One Monaco Grand Prix qualifying, and of course the practice was 2 days ago. I'm hoping the drivers are not too hungover from the Thursday night party, unless COVID said that they couldn't. But who knows? This would make it very interesting indeed if there was anything like that. Anyway, I'm joined by Conor Porter for our qualifying watch along today. How are you, Conor? This for me is the pinnacle of qualifying in an F1 season when it comes to Monte Carlo. No prisoners. Yeah.
Of laps left to go in the race itself. So you have to take the opportunities when they present themselves to it. They're actually showing it on now. The Nouvelle chicane 2019 with Verstappen versus Hamilton on the coverage. So yeah, it's a circuit where qualifying is so important, because if you can get pole, there's a very strong chance that you could go on to win the race itself because of how limited the overtaking opportunities are. So it'll be interesting to see who gets pole today. And just from the practices that we've seen, of course, earlier today and on Thursday, any Ferrari powered cars seems to be performing well, especially Ferraris themselves in Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of performance the Ferrari powered engine cars can do today, Jamie.
I've just looked at some of the comments now, and we've asked you for who you think will get pole position. So let us know on the live chat page. The live chat page is just below me and Conor on your screen as well, so your comments will be seen, and also we'll read them out. Jamie Burgoyne says, big oof for Mick Schumacher, I'd imagine that is. Luca Gras says, so are you going to video stream as well? I wish we could, but that is, of course, copyright. We can't do that. Otherwise, we would be able to. But we'll be. This is a watch along, so basically, it's us reacting to the qualifying as we see it on our screens. Now, I think Conor will be a bit ahead of me on the stream, so he'll give you more updates of what's going on in Monaco, and I'll react, and I'll of course keep an eye out for your messages on the live chat page. But in case people are wondering what the weather's like, I might be wrong, but it looks a bit cloudy in Monte Carlo, Conor.
Yeah, they were saying in practice 3 that the track was unusually cold for the event itself, which obviously would have an effect on tire degrade and how quickly tires do degrade as well. I was just looking at the chat as well with our good friend Jamie Burgoyne commenting about Mick Schumacher. I'm not too sure if they've managed to fix the car in time for him to take part in qualifying. They haven't really shown the car itself or Mick getting ready to drive or anything like that. So I'm not too sure. But they got the screening up behind. They got the screening up, in front of Mick Schumacher's garage, and it still looks like they are working on the car. And obviously, they might have an opportunity to try and get at least one lap out, depending on the condition of the car. But it's usually a bad sign when that screening is still up and they're still working on the car. So it's not going to be ready to go. And obviously, with qualifying, we've only got 15 minutes per session. So they've got the time limit now, 15 minutes in order to get this done. Or it's either 15 or 12. I'm not too sure. I can never remember. But
it's so hard to remember.
Mick's not had a great race weekend so far. He went out in Q2 as well, in P2, as well, after having a crash into the wall near the casino. And obviously he had an incident as well in P3. So it'll be a race for time to try and get him out to at least get a lap time in, as we now see all the cars in the pit lane, and they're out onto the track being led by George Russell in the Williams. Following by is Gasly and the other Haas car of Nikita Mazepin. And so we've got it's 18 minutes Q1 for
Oh, is it?
Monaco,
I kept
surprisingly.
thinking, I thought it'd be 20. I'll change my
so
clock.
18 minutes for that Haas team to try and get that car ready to go for at least one lap. But given the performance of the Haas car so far this season,
Has it started, Conor, the clock?
Yeah, it has begun.
What's it on for you?
It's on 17, 21, 20,
you.
19, 18, 17.
Cool.
So drivers just going around doing out laps now. George Russell will likely be the first to try and set a time. Be interesting to see what George can get out of the car this weekend. You know, it's been a struggle for any Mercedes powered car throughout the weekend, Jamie, because we haven't really seen the best of times from either Hamilton or Bottas.
No, we haven't. And this is the one race where I think if Red Bull, Conor, can get that lead, they're most likely going to go on and win the race. And they need to get that race win this weekend, in my eyes. Last race was a bit of a slip-up from their tactics.
Yeah, Red Bull, both cars, Max Verstappen and Perez out now. So they're just whizzing around the track on their out lap, as is Lewis Hamilton. So I think the vast majority of drivers are out now, except for the two Ferrari cars, Bottas, Vettel, and of course Mick Schumacher. So Russell on his timed lap now, so we're going to get a timed lap very soon, and a benchmarker for our first timed qualifying lap of the Monte Carlo circuit in 2 years. So it's great to finally see some sort of competitiveness now back at one of the most illustrious racing tracks in the world. So it's interesting to see now George Russell approaching the tunnel section of the Monte Carlo circuit. And of course, you go out of that tunnel and into the harbour bit, one of probably the most pristine, picturesque moments of any Formula One circuit, Jamie. And it just reminds me of so many great racing occasions that we've had over the years, specifically an incident where Kimi Räikkönen crashed out of the Monaco Grand Prix and decided not to go back to the pits, but instead to go onto his yacht with his mates. So that was brilliant.
That was hilarious. It's the fact that he forgot. I think he forgot that there was an event on.
George Russell approaching the line now. It's not going to be a quick time. It's 1:17. So interesting. Oh, Tsunoda right behind him though, 1:40. So George Russell's got 2 seconds to make up on that. Kimi Räikkönen's next to cross the line. Mazepin's knocked in a 1:16, but here comes Kimi. He's not going to be quick either. He's going to be like a 1:14 as well. So a bit of warming up the tires, I think, before we see any of the familiar times from practice, because I think they were in the 1:11s in practice. Giovinazzi's got the quickest at the moment, 1:13.4. Landon Norris is purple in sectors 1 and 2, so he could have the new top time as he approaches Rasgas and then around the final corner, which has already seen a casualty this weekend with Alonso crashing into it. Norris gets a 1:12 time. So I think we could see some 1:12s, 1:11s in this session, in this qualifying session.
I liked Raikkonen's third purple sector there. That was decent of him.
Yeah, like the Ferrari powered cars, I think, are going to do well. We saw them do well in practice, because the fact that Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, Jamie, just smashing it around this circuit over the race weekend.
And how much would we love to see Leclerc win on his circuit as well? This is where he's pretty much grown up, where he lives as well. So I think it must be in the back of his mind, even when it's just a normal Sunday for him back at home, walking the streets of Monaco, thinking, I'd love to win here. He must think that every day, I'm sure of it.
I think the commentators were saying throughout the race weekend so far that Charles Leclerc's never finished a Monaco Grand Prix in his Formula One career so far.
I did not know that. I kept thinking he had.
Didn't finish one with Sauber in his first season with them.
Yeah.
and of course he's yet to finish one in a Ferrari seat so far. So
We're starting to forget Sauber when you said Alpha first. That's how
mm,
long ago it's becoming. May you rest in peace, Sauber.
yeah, Gasly just coming around Raskas now, looking to get a timed lap in because he's in a danger zone, but we've still got 12 or so minutes. Ferrari cars, neither one of them are yet to come out for a time lap. Gasly goes up into second with a 1:12. So yeah, there's a lot of competitiveness. Hamilton's not put a very good lap in. I think he got caught up in a lot of traffic, and that is going to be the main thing, Jamie. There's going to be a lot of drivers potentially becoming a victim of the traffic around the Monaco circuit.
And there's not much room for manoeuvre either with this kind of circuit. But I think it's funny. This is the one circuit where I'd imagine a lot of the drivers just love driving around it just because of the flow of it as well and the challenges. But I remember Mark Webber saying yesterday that it's all about the barriers and just obviously trying to avoid them, where you got to pretend that they're the white lines for the border instead of them being barriers.
But yeah, Bottas has just posted a quickest time, 1:11 for him. Lance Stroll as well, 1:11 too. So a few of the Mercedes cars now popping up at the top of the leaderboard. It'll be Hamilton now posts a 1:12 as well, so he's comfortably into Q2 now, most likely. As we approach the 11-minute mark, still no sign though of Mick Schumacher. Verstappen 1:11 now too. He's the new quickest time lap. So
on our live leaderboard, it says DNS for Mick Schumacher, so that must be that he is going to be at the back tomorrow.
Well, potentially, yeah. He may not start then. I imagine in this qualifying session. Obviously, he's got to try and get. I don't know how it works in qualifying. Do you just have to go out?
Well, I kept thinking that would be it. As long as your car is fit enough to go, even with 2 minutes left of the session. But maybe you have to actually give them a yes or no before Q1 even starts.
Yeah, maybe you have to say if you're operational or not.
But, yeah. So, I mean, even though he's on the TV graphics, he's on the board, isn't he? Even though he's last with a no timer.
Yeah, I just got the YouTube up on yours because on my screen, Vettel is yet to post a time, but he doesn't have any sort of signage next to his name. So, someone's gone off a little bit at turn one. Still green flags. It is an Alfa Romeo, and I think it is Giovinazzi. Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh no, it's Kimi Räikkönen. Sorry.
Kimi.
Yeah, he had a lock up going into into the first corner. So, but he's pretty safe at the moment. He's on 10th on the leaderboard. So, but obviously that's tyres gone and timing lost, changing tyres into the pits and then having to go out on another out lap. So, how much time he'll have to put in another lap remains to be seen. But he looks pretty safe for now. Both Ferrari cars now on the leaderboard. Carlos Sainz is the new leader with a 1:11.3, 2/10 of a second ahead of Verstappen, and 2 tenths as well ahead of Charles Leclerc, who's in third. So both Ferrari cars in the top three in Q1 so far. Hamilton's got a green sector one, coming through now into the harbour and the swimming pool area in sector two. Green sector two for him as well. Just approaching the end of the swimming pool, and now Raskas coming up to that the final corner where the pit entry is. Just going around the corner now, approaching the line, 1:6, 1:7, 1:8, 1:9, 1:10, 1:11, and he's only managed to get it in fourth. Still a 10th of a second behind Charles Leclerc. So, wow, Jamie, this is Landon Norris quickest time now, 1:11.3. Oof. Ooh, we're getting some
pretty much next to Sainz then.
Getting some quick times now. Max Verstappen, though, it didn't last very long for Norris, 1:11.1. So Mercedes, Jamie, they could be saving it for Q2, Q3, where the timings are more important. Especially when you got to pick your tires. But Mercedes, they're underperforming so far this weekend in the race weekend, and now it's dragging into qualifying. What are your thoughts on it?
But they always do this, don't they? Where they can have a really bad Q1, Q2, and then Q3 they sneak up on you and get the pole.
Yeah.
And it's normally Lewis who does that. So it's always that whole scenario of don't count them out yet. But yeah, early start doesn't look good at all. But the McLarens have surprised me a little bit as well. Norris, of course, when he snatched that first before. But, I mean, I've just seen Verstappen. He got purple sector in the first two, but did really badly in sector 3, actually. It was an average speed there, while Perez got all green in his attempt. But I was looking at the Kimi Räikkönen incident. Just before he went off the track, he was clearly warming up the tyres before his outlap. So he was on an outlap when he had gone off the track. But luckily for him, it wasn't into one of the barriers. Luckily, he went off one of the gaps. Otherwise, he could have been out of the qualifying completely, but completely locked up there.
Yeah, we were just talking about the Mercedes not getting quick times. Well, that didn't last very long at all because Bottas is the new leader with breaking into the 110s with a 110.9. So, yeah, Hamilton maybe saving a little bit, but Bottas is putting it all out there for show early on. As now Charles Leclerc approaches the final straights now on the finish straight, and he moves into second with a 111.1. So the Ferraris are showing their power this weekend, and Mercedes and Red Bull could find themselves in a little bit of a mixed up with the Ferraris when it comes to the podium finishes this weekend, given how well they've performed.
I think mentioning that Alonso and Ocon have not had a great Q1 so far, but they've still got 7 minutes to go, haven't they? But is this going to be a weekend where the car's just not fast enough? Ocon has punched above his weight, I think, with this car so far this season. He's made it look better than Alonso's car. But it's interesting how far off they are even from Tsunoda.
Yeah, currently in the danger zone is, of course, Mick Schumacher. It doesn't look like he's going to put a timed lap on, so he'll be starting last tomorrow. Joining him in that danger zone at the moment is Nikita Mazepin, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi, who had an incident himself in the practice sessions, and as Jamie mentioned, Esteban Ocon, who has been performing quite well in that Alpine so far this season, but it's not gone on well for him. Just above him, George Russell's jumped out of the danger zone with a good timed lap. He's up to 12th now. So that causes Alonso now to fall into that danger of being eliminated in Q1. Esteban Ocon just about to cross the line now for the start of his timed lap. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in that Alpine car. But I imagine that when it comes to the race, I think Alonso's got enough experience around this track to try and get something, to try and get points. But he has been quite critical of the Alpine car so far this season. So I don't know.
He's having problems. Like, apparently he's already starting to fall out with members of his team, from what I've been reading. And it's just, as much as I love Alonso, it gets kind of annoying and a bit old, because it's just like, just get on with it. You haven't been in F1 for 2-3 years. The first season back's always going to be a bit of a long one, I think, compared to, because you're probably still going to feel a bit rusty as well. But I think Esteban Ocon is showing again why he is a decent driver. And sadly, of course, when he went to Racing Point, he got dropped for Lance Stroll. I've
just realised I am a lovely. I've got a lovely light shining on my face, so I'm just going to drop my blind a little bit, so it doesn't look as though I'm gonna be ill or something.
He didn't buy a ring light, folks. It could have just been that. He's wearing the wrong cap today, folks, as well. He should be wearing his McLaren cap.
I know, but it's...
Actually, maybe you can't wear it this weekend because it's not a full orange car. That fantastic retro thing they've got going on. I think, I don't know if I'm right, but I think on the F1 video game, it might become downloadable. I might be wrong.
That'd be nice.
I'm sure. Well, I think there's been at least a mod already made for it if you've got like the PC version.
Well, the new F1 game comes out very soon for this season.
July, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
It'd be nice to have like alternative liveries. I know you could get it on the last one through my team and things like that. But I don't really think you could get them for, the actual licensed cars themselves in terms of the deliveries that they deliver
Yeah.
on race weekends. So it'd be nice to actually get that just as an alternative for McLaren. George Russell all the way up into 10th at the moment. So he's having an absolutely storming qualifying so far. He's likely going to be safe into Q2, but not much has changed. Ocon jumps out of the danger zone now, up into 12th with 2.5 minutes to go. Here comes Mazepin. Has he got a good opportunity to get out of Q1? He's got green in sectors 1 and 2, but I don't think his timing is going to be good enough. No, it isn't. He stays in the elimination zone, so he'll likely be out of Q1. But Tsunoda's in there now too, and that's surprising given how well Gasly's doing, because Gasly's all the way up in 6th, whereas Tsunoda's down in 16th. So Tsunoda's got to try and find something out of that car. Daniel Ricciardo, though, is at risk as well. A lot of time laps come in now, so we're just seeing how drivers jump around on the leaderboard. Ricciardo up into 9th after his time lapse, so he's way away. Alonso, though, still in the danger zone after his time lapse. He's only in 16th, so he's got to go round again, but unlikely to get out of there, as is Nicholas Latifi, who actually goes quicker than Alonso. So Alonso and Latifi, if they want to get out of the elimination zone, they got to get around the Monte Carlo circuit quick and then do a good time lap to follow it up. Hamilton looks comfortable. He's in 7th. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Like, is there a big incentive to try and get quickest lap time in every single qualifying session, Jamie, do you think, around the Monte Carlo circuit?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think you just want to get pole position spot on, though, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to be able to do it, because this is, as I mentioned before, it's the one qualifying which could be the race result. So, I mean, you've got over a minute to go. And I'm noticing that Latifi can't even get anywhere near out the elimination zone while Russell's in 11th, which just shows the difference between the two drivers, it feels. But, Russell's doing what Jules Bianchi did a few years back, which is just sneaking up there and just surprising everyone. But this is the thing with Monte Carlo. It has a few surprises in place. And George Russell, if he could get a good qualifying today, I mean, I'm not going to say he'll get to Q3, but as long as he gets to Q2, at least he's made the most out of it.
He is. He's just gone off on another timed lap now, but currently he's in 11th. He's had a bad Sector 2, though. He's a second slower than what he has been in Sector 2, so this might not be a very quicker time, but at the moment, we've got Kimi Räikkönen, who's jumped up into 9th after his timed lap, with now the session being over. So with cars crossing the line now, that is it for them. As George Russell approaches the line, is he going to get any quicker? No, he's only in 12th. Giovinazzi's next to cross the line. He jumps up into 9th, so that pushes Ocon into a risk position here, but he managed to jump up into 10th. So now we're waiting to see what happens with Vettel, as he's on the line now, potentially get eliminated in Q1. Tsunoda's now going around. He's got quickest sections in sectors 1 and 2, quickest of his weekend so far. Nikita Mazepin now approaching the line, yellow in sector 1, but green in sector 2. Approaching the line now, it doesn't look like he's going to go any quicker than what he has done throughout the weekend so far. So he's out. Tsunoda's next now to cross the line. Can he go quicker? He only jumps up into 16th, so Tsunoda is out in Q1. Alonso next to cross the line now. What can he do as he approaches? 17th only for Alonso, so he's out as well. Latifi now the last likely to cross the line. As he approaches it now, can he go any quicker? Just waiting to see. No, that he can't go any quicker. So out in Q1 is Mick Schumacher, who didn't have a time due to a crash in practice 3. Mazepin joins him, as does Latifi, and Alonso and Tsunoda. So, yeah, any surprises there for you, Jamie?
I mean, Alonso, definitely. As you said before, someone who knows the circuit, who's won it there as well. For, a Monaco race winner to not even make it out of Q1. Yeah, that's pretty poor. I think that sums up Alonso's start to the season so far. But, Tsunoda, again, he's not getting the most out of his car, is he? He's been struggling in these qualifying sessions. And you look at Gasly, and Gasly's 6th. So look at the difference. 10 places.
Yeah, Tsunoda has been struggling, but again, he is a rookie.
Yeah.
He was only in FP2. He was only in an F2 for a season. So it's been quite a quick journey to F1
Yeah,
in normal compared to normal standards. But if you've watched him in F2 last season, you would see that he's a very good quality driver, and he deserves an opportunity in F1 to try and prove himself. And he had a great race in Bahrain, finishing in the points, but
yeah.
it's not really gone well for him since then. And tomorrow he'll be starting near the back of the grid, unfortunately.
And nothing beats Dowell from Pizza Hut promoting, after he's been on The Office US and all that. You can't beat that. Anyway, thank you, Sky. A few comments have come in. Jamie Burgoyne says, Mick's car is knackered, not going to be ready for Q1. Yeah, me and Conor had for a moment thought maybe they're trying to get him in before the first session had finished, but maybe they just put it on the graphic to just automatically say, look, he's on the board, he can go out if he wants, but it's not going to happen. Of course, as you see on our leaderboard, folks, it's got a DNS, which of course means did not start. So get your comments in. We've got Greg Livingstone saying, hi Jamie, how are you doing? I'm good, Greg, thank you very much. Just to think, Greg, it's a week today until the Champions League final, so of course we'll be doing a watch along for that. He also asks, are you doing the golf tonight? Not tonight, but tomorrow. Tonight is Eurovision night, so I'm having the night off, so bring it on. But do join us tomorrow for the golf for the final round of the USPGA Championship. And of course, if you haven't yet, do subscribe. Rob Johnson asks, where can I watch it live? It's not on the F1 app. It's on Sky Sports F1. It depends where you're from, Rob. Are you in the UK? Let us know, because that's where it's on. So yeah, I mean, I think Mazipan will be delighted, Conor. He's above Mick Schumacher for a change. That's one plus for him. But going again, I mean, Vettel 15th. Aston Martin struggling again.
Yeah, Lance Stroll is around there as well in 13th. So it's definitely something, I think, an issue with the car. Whether or not it is this whole aero stuff that they were going on quite a few weeks ago, if that is having such a big impact on the car, why is that the case? It's something to be investigated potentially over the next few weeks, because otherwise Aston Martin will quickly find themselves out of the hunt for potentially finishing in third in the constructors. Same with Alpine as well. Of course, formerly Renault, so they've got a strong history in F1. It's not just some new team that's come along, in case you didn't know. And they're underperforming with, of course, Alonso getting knocked out in Q1. But Ocon's managing to do well. So what's happening between those two sides of the garage? Why is it so different in comparison?
Yeah.
Something to look at. And but on the positive side, George Russell in that Williams just consistently now performing well.
It's becoming normal for him, isn't it, Q2?
It's becoming normal to see him in Q2. It's just now we're waiting for that moment where he gets that car into Q3. I mean, that would be a huge moment for him, because obviously he's been in Q3 when he had that little drive with McLaren. With Mercedes in Bahrain, but he's doing a tremendous job in that Williams so far this season. And it'll be a great sight to see him in Q3 for the first time in that car eventually.
Has the clock started, has it?
Not yet.
Let me know when, then I'll start it.
Okay.
Is it normally 12 in the last... Is it? No, 15? I get mixed up with it all.
I'll be able to confirm that for you in just a moment. I think it might be different for Monaco, because of the fact that it is a slower circuit. It does take longer to go around, and because of the tightness of it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
They might have as a result of it, they might have just extended the times in each qualifying session in order to allow for all cars to get a fair attempt at putting a strong timed lap in. But the tyre warmers are coming off. So we're going to be starting momentarily as the cars probably look to queue up at the end of the pit lane. Both Mercedes cars are out as well, and approaching the end of the pit lane, but still a red light there. Just getting ready now. Both Alphas out too. I think the Red Bulls are out as well. I think it might be George Russell at the front again. No, George Russell's still in the garage. But yeah, still waiting. 15 minutes it is for Q2. And we're underway, being led by Gasly out onto the track first. And both Ferrari cars are getting ready to go too as well. So, yeah, Q2 underway. And obviously, Jamie, as well, this is a big session for the drivers because
how many minutes?
15 minutes.
15, got you.
Whichever tire type they get their quickest tire, they get their quickest time on, will be the tire that they start the race on.
Yes.
What tire do you think is the best for this circuit?
I mean, I looked at the weather forecast earlier, and it looks as though there'll be clouds again tomorrow, but not much threat of rain. So, do you look at it like that? I don't know. Forecast can change overnight. So,
I suppose it could depend as well as to are you going to go for the normal one stop, or are you going to do something similar to what Hamilton did in Barcelona, where he went in twice and put 2 sets of mediums on instead of going for the hard tires in the third stop. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies I think the drivers have in mind, and we could get a slight indication of that depending on what tire choice they decide to go full out on and try and get their quickest lap. But I think we'll see a lot of drivers starting on the softs and potentially moving to hards. But potentially we could see Red Bull and Mercedes, given the fact that they're in the title.
I don't think you'll see many mediums.
No. So yeah, Charles now just going up towards the casino section. Gasly as well, placing a bet. Yeah.
I'm going to win.
I think the Ferraris will do well this weekend. We were saying off stream to you, and I'll say it now on stream. I think a Ferrari will start on the front row this weekend, and I think eventually as well we'll see one on the podium by the end of it, because Leclerc and Sainz have done well in all the practice sessions so far this weekend, and they're performing well so far in qualifying. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Ferrari on the podium.
I think
Gasly now approaching the Harbour Pool section. Sorry.
No. It's. I think we have got a battle between. I think we have got a 3-car battle this weekend. I mean, there's something about Red Bull though, where I just feel like they're third favourites for me. I don't know why, but there's something about the Red Bulls this weekend where yes, they've got the pace to do it, but also I still think with Perez, he's still got a lot of learning going on at Red Bull in my eyes. And I just don't think he's reliable yet to be consistently in the top 4 at least, which we haven't seen. With Mercedes, they've won. I think if Mercedes win this race, then they will be joint as the most successful team in Monaco in terms of race wins. I think that'll be up to 7. And
because Nico Rosberg got 3 in a row at one point.
He did.
Yeah.
It was so funny how he won it every year without realizing, like thinking, oh, Nico's quite good here. To beat Hamilton to Monaco a few times is pretty decent, because Hamilton's won a few here as well. So it's going to be an interesting battle. I do think this qualifying is very open. And I'm not sure who I'd go for right now. But yeah, Q2, very important because of the tyre choices. I've noticed as well, though, McLaren, for me, that like they're going to be the bottom end of the top 10 this weekend, unless they prove me wrong.
Yeah, we're just getting the first couple of times in. But obviously, given the temperatures today, a couple of the drivers might be deciding to do a few more outlaps before doing their timed lap, just to get the tyres up to temperature. As Charles Leclerc jumps up, and as does Carlos Sainz. So both Ferraris at the top of the leaderboard so far, but Bottas is yet to clock in, and neither is Hamilton, as now both drivers approach the last sector. Bottas about to cross the line, but he's only 4th fastest over 1:11.1. Here comes Hamilton though, about to cross the line, and he's only 4th fastest as well, so leaping ahead of Bottas. So yeah, both Mercedes just a bit slow.
Yeah.
Around the circuit, and they have been so far this weekend. Both Ferraris still at the top.
I think as well, I mean, I'm just reading some more comments here. Pete Morbius saying AMG. Yes, Patronus. Where are you from, Pete? If you are watching, folks, let us know where you're watching the qualifying from today. We always love to know where our viewers are coming from. Daniel Pasquale saying, where can I watch the quali stream? In terms of, we're not showing the live stream because we'd have to have rights to have the stream. But Sky Sports F1 are showing it today.
It's just showing Landon Norris on the F1 coverage. Obviously, he's signed a new contract with McLaren this week, Jamie.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Great. Deserves it. I think McLaren are doing it in case any other teams look into him. I think it's a simple, we like you, you're a wonder kid for McLaren. Let's keep you and see how you can progress. Because McLaren is, I'll say slowly going in the right direction under Zach Brown. It's nothing but positivity, and they're being realistic as well. You know, they're not looking into each season and think, can we win the World Championship? Can we get a few race wins? No, they're just trying to slowly compete near the top each race, and you can never doubt them in a way where they've had moments against the Red Bulls. They've shown some battles against them. Nowhere near the Mercedes, of course, but it helps when Mercedes are providing the engines to them at the moment. But no, I like the way McLaren's going, and I've said this before in some of our watch-alongs where I look at Landon Norris as like Hamilton, boyhood team, British, very, very promising. But the only difference we've got is that Hamilton went into a McLaren team that was winning races and were battling for championships. And in his first season, he lost it out on the final race to Kimi Raikkonen, which was unfortunate. But let's not forget, Alonso, his teammate, was also in the battle that weekend. But with Lando Norris, he's at McLaren that need to prove themselves. So I don't think anyone should ever look at Lando and say, oh, he's nowhere near as good as Hamilton when he started. Well, yeah, but let's be realistic. The team are not in the best of places right now, but they're progressing. So I think it's great.
Do you think there is potential for McLaren to win a race this season? Or
I think if the opportunities are there, but when I say opportunities, I mean they've got to have a fast car, but also they may need some luck, which would mean, a Red Bull not being available. Let's say Perez was out of a race, or even a Mercedes. Then I don't see why not. But I still feel like luck has to be on their side. But who knows? Upgrades can change a car's performance later on in the season. Even just for a small patch, we see certain cars do better in some races until the end of the season. So who knows? I don't see it happening, but who knows?
Yeah, and we're just approaching the halfway mark now in Q2. So as things stands on the leaderboard that I've got on my coverage on the TV is Verstappen at the top, followed by Sainz and Leclerc, Norris, Bottas, and Hamilton in 5 and 6, Perez in 7th, Vettel in 8th, Gasly in 9th, and Ricciardo in 10th, which leaves Giovinazzi, Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Kimi Raikkonen, and George Russell in the elimination zone at the moment, as we are now in the halfway point in Q2. Just staying on the McLaren point, Jamie.
Yeah,
they got a lovely livery this weekend with their golf sponsorship. Obviously, it's a bit on the golf livery is part of their touring car. I think it is their setup there, but they brought it to Formula One, and we were mentioning about how it would be great to have that extra option on the Formula One game if possible. But what do you think of it? What do you think of the livery? It just looks great, doesn't it?
I love it, but just seen the clouds over the hill there. Very low clouds at the moment in Monaco. So it does look like it's getting a bit darker there, which you wouldn't have thought in Monaco. But yeah, I like it, but I like the fact that someone put on Twitter the other day, and they suggested that every Monaco race should have each team use one of their retro styles. And then Haas joked about it in a tweet and went, can we use our 2016 car? It was really funny. But I was like, yeah, why not? Monaco's old. Let's be honest, it's old-fashioned. It's been in F1 since day one. And it's been in F1 Championship up until sadly last year because of COVID. So I love it. I think the livery's amazing. And yeah, we should have liveries like that available on the F1 game at least.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's, I don't know, but I don't go on the merchandise store, but, maybe they've got some jumpers in those colours maybe, or T-shirts that you can maybe buy. It's a good way of branding it. But
Just
also,
looking at the
sorry, Conor. No, go on.
No, you finish your point because I was going to go on
But
to a different topic.
it's a big week for McLaren because you've got Monaco this weekend, and then you got next weekend the Indy 500 with the Arrows. So, of course, an ex-Formula One driver, Juan Pablo Montoya, will be in the car for the Indy team, which I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in that. But also, I hope he can fit it in the car because he's known for putting on a lot of weight in the last few years. Hence why he's been doing NASCAR.
I'm sure he'll be fine. Just looking at the drivers in the elimination zone, Jamie, at the moment, Giovinazzi, Stroll, Ocon, Raikkonen, and George Russell. Out of those drivers,
sounds about right.
Who would you be the most surprised to see eliminated in Q2?
I think that's about right. Because the Alfa Romeos would love to make it into Q3. So would George Russell. But I think the only one that would like to get into Q3 is Lance Stroll, because he's been out qualifying Vettel. So, but there's still 4.5 minutes to go from the clock I'm seeing, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stroll pipped someone to the top 10. But this is Aston Martin's balance here, where you're not quite sure if they're going to make it into Q3. But I think the rest of the lineup so far in the bottom there, I think, is just about right.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drivers are on soft tyres too, so that could be the strategy for tomorrow's race. Start on the softs, which would result in an earlier pit stop, and it'll be interesting to see if any of the drivers decide to either go on potentially, a medium and try and stretch that out, or a hard tyre, or incorporate 2 stops with a medium tyre. So, or they could do 2 stints on softs, but I don't know if they would want to ruin 2 sets of softs on the weekend. On a punishing track when it comes to the tyres like Monaco, because of how slow and how tight the corners can be. So, especially on the hairpin section, which we've already seen.
I always call it
drivers lock up. Yeah.
What do you call it? Hairpin or hairpin?
Or the horse. It's like horsepin or hairpin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of it is.
Yeah, I get mixed up with it. I keep thinking it's like the Chinese New Year. They come up with a new theme for it.
Guess a new name every year.
Can it be carpin next year?
I don't know.
Pinboard.
2.5 minutes to go. Still the same 5 drivers in the elimination zone. Giovinazzi's just put a new fastest time, but he only sits in 9th still. Yeah, it could be a big weekend for Max Verstappen or Hamilton. If Hamilton wins, he gets a further extension at the top of the drivers' championship. But if Verstappen wins, he closes that gap up a little bit, and keeps in tow with Hamilton, and we don't see Hamilton start to run away with it. So yeah, this is a big weekend for Max Verstappen.
It is, and I think we're starting to see mind games, aren't we, between Verstappen and Hamilton in these interviews and press conferences. But that there's nothing wrong in that. There's always going to be Hamilton won't mean it personally, neither will Verstappen. It's just business on the track with them too. Hamilton. They've always
been respectful, haven't they? When it comes to track limits and things like that. Yeah.
I think it's no different to Vettel and Hamilton when Vettel's at Ferrari. I mean, we saw how much respect Hamilton had for Vettel. If anything, he had a lot more respect than we would have thought. He clearly admired Vettel, because at one point it was Vettel with 4 world championships. Hamilton only had the 1. So, there's a lot of admiration for both drivers. And, we like to see that. At the end of the day, it is a sport. To some, it's the death of it all. They'll fight to the death, but at the same time, they're putting on a show for us to enjoy.
Yeah, Landon Norris just coming through the last sector now, but he's had yellows in the sector 1 and 2, so it's unlikely to be a quicker time. But at the moment, he's in 5th as we now enter the last 40 seconds of Q2. So last opportunities for drivers to cross the line to get a quicker time. Charles Leclerc's had the fastest in sector 2 as he now approaches Raskas, but he's a bit holed up there by I think it was Esteban Ocon. As he now approaches the line, he's in 3rd at the moment. Can he get a quicker time? He's about to cross the line now. Yes, he does. He moves up into 1st position. there with a 110.5. So great time there from Charles Leclerc. Here comes Kimi Raikkonen, currently sitting in 15th. He needs to get a quicker time to get into Q3. Can he do it? As he crosses the line now, 0-0-0 on the end of the session. Kimi Raikkonen only in 11th, so he's out in Q2. As Giovinazzi moves up into 10th, so at the moment he's in Q3, but we still got Ricciardo to cross the line. He only gets a 111.5, sitting in 11th, so Ricciardo is out of Q2, as is Esteban Ocon. He's out in Q2. Gasly moves up into 7th with his time. He's safely into Q3. Here comes Lance Stroll crossing the line here now. He only manages, it's not yet crossing the line yet. Here he comes around Raskas. That was a weird imagery there that it showed. Here he comes crossing the line now. Lance Stroll only up into 13th, so he's out in Q3 as well. And George Russell is yet to finish up with a time, but he's likely going to be out in Q3 as well. I don't think he's going out for another lap. So it looks as though it is going to be Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, Kimi Raikkonen, and George Russell out in Q2. Giovinazzi makes his way into Q3, Jamie. Great timing for him.
Yeah, I mean, here I was saying that Alfa Romeo would be happy just for Q2, but no, that's great for him. I mean, you know, you got Vettel there as well beating Lance Stroll, which we haven't seen much of this season, and who knows, that could be what we should expect tomorrow. But again, we shouldn't doubt Vettel's talent, even though he hasn't shown it in the last couple of years, because he's won in Monaco a few times. He's been a world champion for four times. Maybe we're seeing some of that real talent in some drivers like Vettel who can do it on the street circuit compared to the kids of F1, you could say.
I think you need to update the timing chart, Jamie, unfortunately, on the live stream.
I do apologise, folks. It's just a window capture on the internet, so what web source we're using, it doesn't seem to be updating. Let me refresh the page.
Yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo would be a bit disappointed because once again it's not gone well for him in the qualifying session at McLaren, with him being out in Q2, whereas Landon Norris is in Q3. A bit disappointing for him, Jamie. Daniel Ricciardo out in Q2 in that McLaren.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those, isn't it? It's Daniel Ricciardo's not had a good start, has he, this year? I've been a bit disappointed, but I've always said he's an overrated driver. So, and a lot of people don't like me for saying that, but that's how I feel about Daniel Ricciardo. Still a great driver, but just not as good as what people would make him out to be. And I think he's showing it this season, sadly. But of course, it's early days. Early days. He's new to a team. Landon Norris, in my eyes, and I'm sure Conor might agree, is priority. He's their boy. He's their project. So I think it'd be interesting to see how Ricciardo does. Ricciardo's good at coming from the back to getting quite far on the grid. So, I mean, Monaco might strict him from that, but I'm sure he'll give it a good go.
Yeah, going back to our earlier discussion about Lando, when you look at the drivers on the grid, if you had an opportunity to sign one, there aren't that many better drivers than Lando before he signed his new contract this week. If you think about it, Hamilton is likely going to be locked up with Mercedes, as is Bottas, and then you got Verstappen, who's probably locked in at Red Bull. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are very comfortable at Ferrari, and then you would say probably the next driver after that to try and sign would be Lando because of his performances at McLaren. And he's got the age on his side as well. He's doing well. So it was very important for McLaren to lock him into the medium term future to keep him at the team. So I think that was another reason why McLaren was so comfortable with signing Lando for another few years so early on into the season, because they wanted to make sure that no other team like a Mercedes, say if Hamilton decided to retire, if Mercedes might think Lando would be perfect for our car because of his performances in McLaren, they were trying to snap him up. But McLaren, with this new deal, has made sure that they can't do that. So, yeah, it's a great decision, I think, by McLaren to keep such a talented driver in their team for a decent more couple of years. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think we've got a long. I think he's got a long career ahead of him, with the way it's going as well. I think it's very exciting. But for British motorsport, when Hamilton goes, Conor, it just shows his legacy has created a great new generation of Landon Norris and George Russell. Can't go wrong with them two. It feels like the new Jenson Button and David Coulthard in a way. Two respectable drivers. Maybe they get 1 or 2 race wins and a few world championships. Who knows? But I don't think we should put much pressure on them. They're there to race and they're doing a good job. But let's just hope that the media or spectators don't put too much pressure on them, because they're getting there. You just got to give them time.
Yeah. Obviously, we know as well that they're not in the best cars possible on the grid.
Exactly, which is good, I think, because I think they can. It's nice to see people start from the bottom, because that just shows the progression and drive. And I don't mean as a pun. The drive that they might have and energy they have to prove themselves, because they have to do it from the back. And that's what George Russell is showing in the last, especially this season in a Williams.
Yeah. And with the fact as well, the new regulation changes coming in for next season, it could mix up the field completely. And we could see McLaren become the top team in Formula One. You just never know how the regulation is going to impact the teams and whatnot. So,
which we wouldn't say no to, because it's been a long time coming. That last race win, Brazil 2012. It's nearly 20. I was going to say 20 years. Calm down. Nearly 10 years. So yeah, McLaren. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Brown's got that in the back of his mind. To think, let's try and get a race win before we reach 10 years, which will be a breath of fresh air, not just for F1, but for the McLaren fans out there.
Yeah.
Now, just before we start Q3, Conor, I did say I'd read out a poll, and I think this is more relevant now since we're into Q3. Now, if you haven't yet, folks, on our community section on the channel, we put out a poll asking you who you think will get pole position for tomorrow. As you'd expect, Lewis Hamilton's got the most votes at 63%. Max Verstappen at 13%. But look at this. Sergio Perez, 17%. So more than Verstappen.
Have you been going on Smurf accounts and voting multiple times on this poll, Jay?
I was just going, before you said that, I was going to admit and say I voted at least once. But that was it. That was it. Someone else has voted. I'm not sure who, but someone else has. And Valtteri Bottas has got 4%, and since we can only offer 5 options, we've used our 5th option as other, which is only 4%. So Lewis Hamilton, according to you lot at home, is the favourite to get pole position. What are you going for, Conor, before it all begins?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Charles Leclerc pole.
Ooh, I'd like to see that. Yes, I would like to see that.
Yeah, Q3.
Oh yeah, go on. I'll join you. I'll join you on that. Let's see a Monegasque get a pole position.
Q3 underway, 12 minutes to go until we find out who finishes on pole. A couple of drivers coming out onto the track. 10 drivers, so there should be plenty of space for everyone to try and get a quickest lap in. At the moment, we've got a Mercedes driver leading the way around the track. I'm not too sure if it's Hamilton or Bottas, but I think it's the blue tint of the helmet there, so it would be Bottas. As he comes around the casino section and then the hairpin as well. A Red Bull driver is actually ahead of him. I don't know why they're focusing on Bottas then. But I digress. He's obviously a very quick driver in that Mercedes car as he warms up his tyres through the tunnel and now approaches the harbour section. So, yeah. All drivers are out except for Vettel, and now Vettel emerges from the pit lane, so he's out too. And we're underway officially now in Q3 for drivers to try and do their best to finish on at the top of the leaderboard, and as a result on pole position for tomorrow's race, which, Jamie, we've already mentioned. It's so important for a race like Monaco, given how limited overtaking opportunities there are.
Yeah, and the history the history of the circuit, no doubt. I think for me, it's the one circuit you want to win. Even if you don't become a world champion, there's a lot of drivers out there who have never been world champion but have that glory to say they've won on this circuit. David Coulthard's a great example. Mark Webber both won there in Monaco. So it is a history moment for any driver, and I think, you know, Charles Leclerc, he'll be feeling it. He'll be feeling the burn. I hope he does it. I'd love to see him get pole at least. But let us know, folks, tonight in the live chat page. Let us know, who do you think will get pole before Q3 ends, and we'll read it out.
Yeah, don't put your prediction over like 1 second to go and then say,
Yeah.
like, oh, it's going to be this.
No, that could happen. They'll say Leclerc.
You got 5 minutes to put in your prediction. You got until 5 to 3, and then we're gonna ignore the rest of them.
Conor, they'll say that with a second to go, and then Hamilton pips Leclerc to pole like he always does in the final moments of Q3.
Verstappen's got the quickest time at the moment, 1:10. Purple in sector 1 and 3, so he's got a good drive there so far. But yeah, it is a big one for Verstappen. If he gets pole in here and gets the race win, then that could be him keeping the gap very close to Hamilton at the top of the championship. But as already mentioned, if Hamilton ends up winning, then we could end up seeing him, you know, drive away into the sunset with it. So
absolutely,
it's a very big weekend for Verstappen. But same for all the other drivers as well.
William's on our boat here, Conor. He says, I hope Charles will be on pole. Nothing says easy win for Ferrari. And Joel Mitchell says, I think everyone here, Italian Jesus, should be on pole and win the race. Joel, you said there was an Aussie Jesus last time, I think. I can't remember. I remember you from the last watch along, Joel. He has this theme with Jesus, Conor. I think he loves him.
Giovinazzi is in third at the moment.
Yeah.
On the timings, but we still do have 8 minutes to go.
If only it ended now. Giovinazzi with Gasly as well, fourth.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc just approaching now the harbour and the pool section of the track, in just finishing up on sector 2. And now sector 3. Quickest time in sector 2 for Charles Leclerc, so he's doing well so far as he comes now towards Raskas in the final corner. Now approaching the start-finish straight. Can he get a quick time as he approaches the line? Charles Leclerc is currently in pole position, 1:10.3. Here comes Carlos Sainz, so quickest in sector 1. Can he pip his teammate? No, he's in third at the moment. So at the moment, it looks as though Hamilton crosses the line here. Only 5th fastest for him as Perez follows suit. He's only 6th fastest. So with 7 minutes to go, it's Charles Leclerc followed by Verstappen, Sainz, Bottas, Hamilton, Perez, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Norris, and Sebastian Vettel. But Sebastian Vettel jumps up into 6th, so that was quick for him. Yeah. Oof. Charles Leclerc. He's doing good on the word for us. Ferrari are performing well.
I do apologise, folks. I've just refreshed the leaderboard, so it's up to date now. Yeah, I've just seen Leclerc 1:10.3. I mean, that it does feel like. Can you get a 1:10.2? Is that possible? Maybe not. But I think that feels like the winning time right there. But who knows? There's still 7 minutes to go. It's just when Hamilton's up there, you just never know. But Perez and Vettel, sorry, not Vettel, just Perez, he's still not picking himself up, is he? He can't seem to just break that barrier and get himself a little bit closer to that top 3.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull must be thinking, what do they have to do to try and find a second driver that will, you know, be a great wingman for Verstappen.
I still think with Perez, you've got to give him half a season to look at the race results, maybe. But
I mean, he performed great. He performed great in Imola, didn't he? He got front row there.
I think his best days are in the race, not qualifying. But then the last race wasn't great for him. So he knows he's got a lot of work to do to make sure he's a good secondary driver. Because, look, again, Bottas is doing the good old work. He's having a normal season, isn't he, of doing his bit for Mercedes, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, most of the cars now are back in the pits, putting some fresh tyres on to go one more time and try and get that fastest lap and that key pole position in Monaco as we approach the 5-minute mark in the session. So that's it for your predictions. No more predictions as to who's going to finish pole. I'm not accepting them anymore. They'll be thrown in the bin, even though I can't do that digitally. No, we're not going to delete your comments, but you can still put who you want.
Rory Smith said Perez, hopefully Charles. So I think you're on the fence there, or you can't seem to pick between Perez and Charles. Patrick says it will be Sainz to win.
Yeah, Sainz is performing well so far this weekend and the race weekend. Yeah, he's fourth at the moment. He's doing well.
Yeah, this is a good. Maybe it is because it's Monaco, but if the track was a bit more open and overtaking was possible in some of the corners for tomorrow's race, then it's the fact that you've got 3 cars, possibly 4, going for a race win, which we haven't seen in a while. Yeah, 5 minutes to go, but they've just come out with the previous polls, and it was Hamilton last time in 2019, Ricciardo 2018, Raikkonen 2017. I'd forgot all about that back in his Ferrari days. Ricciardo 2016, and then Hamilton 2015.
Yeah, it was shown as well. Charles Leclerc, 7 poles in his career so far, and the last one being at the 2019 Mexican Grand Prix, because, of course, Ferrari had quite a down year last season, but from what we've seen so far this season, they've had a bit of a resurgence, at least competing for third in the championship alongside McLaren. But so far this weekend, it looks like they can get themselves into the party between Red Bull and the Mercedes at the top of the pack as well. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next 3.5 minutes if Charles Leclerc can hang on to pole position, and if Carlos Sainz can improve on his time, potentially find himself higher up into the grid positions too.
I like what Rockatron's 81 has said. Drivers always say winning Monaco is like winning a championship. Exactly, it's the pinnacle, one of the best races on the calendar. Jamie Burgoyne says Conor is the Italian Jesus of Let's Talk Sport. There's a name for
Italian,
you.
So.
Deep down he is. English Italian. We've got some couple of questions. We'll answer them once Q3 ends, folks. So we'll be staying on for a little bit longer when qualifying finishes to reflect. And feel free to get your messages in. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 2,500 subscribers. We're nearly there. Help us reach it. And of course, we'll be on tomorrow for the race.
Yeah. It's going to be Jack and Dom, I think, is it, tomorrow for the race?
No, it's me and Dom now. Jack had to pull out.
Oh, dear, Jack. Oh,
the
dear.
bastard.
Okay. 2 minutes to go as we see a couple of drivers now start a quick lap to get their timings in. What do you think would be it'd be a good result for Ferrari over the weekend? Because we talked about the potential. What do you think a good result would be? Yeah.
If they get podium, then that's good. But I think a race win is exactly what they're going to go for. If it stays like this, 2 minutes to go from what I've got in front of me. But Charles Leclerc, it would be a dream. It would be a dream, because I don't think. Unless I'm wrong, folks, do tell me. But we've never had a Monaco winner in Monaco, so it would be an historical moment.
Perez crossing the line. He can only go 9th fastest with his time, but he's still got another minute and a bit to get around the track to pump in another lap if need be. Hamilton on a timed lap, green in first sector as he goes around the hairpin and towards the tunnel entrance. He's got to try and go a bit quicker if he wants to get further up onto the grid, but at the moment so far it's kind of been repetitive for Hamilton in the qualifying stages so far. He's not really been near the top.
No, imagine if he does start in 7th. Behind Gasly of all people.
Yeah, approaching the pool and the harbour section now as he comes up towards the final few corners of Raskas as well. We've got 30 seconds left for drivers to cross the line to get any timing. I think Hamilton might have aborted this lap and he's going a bit slow.
No way.
Collision.
Whoa.
into the wall. Charles Leclerc's crashed into the wall.
No.
Yellow flags in sector 3. Is that going to be it?
No.
Red flag session. Is the session over? With the red flag, session stops.
Is he
Cars
doing that to
return
get
to the pit
pole?
lane. Oh, if it does end up that way, the timer has stopped. So we got red flags, and as things stand, if it is red flag session and the session will be over, Charles Leclerc would be on pole with Verstappen second and Bottas in third.
I might be wrong. Conor. The rules used to be that if you don't get your car back in the garage, you don't start at pole position, so you might have to be at the back of the grid. So I actually have a worry here. I might be wrong, but Leclerc might not actually be able to start as pole position. Again, do tell me if I'm wrong, folks, because that's what happened to Vettel when he couldn't park. He had to park his car after qualifying, and he couldn't get it in the garage.
Race control session will not be restarted.
Oh, so what a shame.
That is it. So as things stand, it looks as though Charles Leclerc could be in pole position, but with Jamie's comments there is a risk that he may not start in pole. Verstappen is in second, Bottas third, Carlos Sainz in fourth, and I don't know, I can't remember the rest of the leaderboard after that. But just watching the replay here of Charles Leclerc coming through the harbour and the pool section,
that's going to frustrate him. That
he's hit that curve as so many drivers have done so far over the race weekend, and just obviously when you hit the curb, you lose the traction due to the fact that the wheels are off the track. Actually, before he even hit the curb, his right front had made contact with the wall and had bent inward, so he wouldn't have been able to steer correctly either. And he's gone full on into that wall, and his session was over. But there was only 30 seconds or so left in the session anyway. But he's okay. He was waving to the fans, and it looks as though, given the graphics that they were showing on the coverage, Charles Leclerc may still start in pole position tomorrow. But
watching
Jamie,
the replay now, that's what you do on a video game. it's just he's literally just clipped the exit barrier there, and it's just that whole thing of limitless, isn't it, Conor? They're so Jamie, in the zone.
Just to interrupt you,
graphics
popped up on the TV. Obviously, this is Formula One coverage put out by Formula One themselves. They put up a graphic to say who's in pole position, and they have said Charles Leclerc is in pole position. So
thank God.
There we go. As of now, obviously things can change given if the FIA decide to investigate.
Yeah,
but
you never know with them boys.
Charles Leclerc, a Monegasquian, pole position, Jamie. Wow.
But I mean, fantastic. But I still wonder about the rules, because he crashed, which stops another driver with the opportunity to get pole position, regardless. The qualifying session was still happening. So I've not seen that before. I've never seen anything like that before.
I think Jamie, just for the sake of argument, would it matter if it was earlier on in the session or later in that essence? Because he did crash in the final minute, so drivers have had 11 minutes in the session itself to try and get a quick lap onto the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Do you think the FIA would say then to the other teams that may complain about this, say, you've had enough time in the session to try and get a quicker slap, and didn't do it?
This is it. I mean, they could do that, but then the Red Bull and Mercedes team and all that could go up to them and go, we were on an out lap, it was our final chance, and we couldn't finish it because there was a Ferrari in the way. It's going to be interesting. I'm glad right now to see that Leclerc has officially got pole position. But there's a heart that I'm not going to celebrate until we have confirmation, because you just never know with FIA. They might have some rules in place, or they have to look into it. And I'm sure there might be complaints from the teams to go, well, we didn't get to finish our outlap because of you deciding to stop the session. Yeah. I don't know why they couldn't. I don't know. How could you have done it, really? I mean, I don't know. There's so many ways you could have looked into it, but I would have had it where if they were on an outlap, then yes, of course, pause the session. Then let them go and do one more lap once you've cleared the car. But that's how I see it. But again, as you say, Conor, they've had a session where they've had enough time to get their laps in, which all of them did. but they weren't as quick as Charles Leclerc. So, well done to Charles Leclerc. I mean, what a day for him it'll be tomorrow if he does start at the front. Every childhood's dream for someone like him who comes from the area as well. So fantastic. But yet again, Conor, if that's the case, then that means Lewis Hamilton will start 7th. So who knows? Could he get podium tomorrow? Could he win tomorrow? It's not going to look very easy anyway.
And with Verstappen in second position as well, it could end up being a big shift in the drivers' championships with McLaren. Red Bull and Verstappen regaining those points on Mercedes and Hamilton as a result of how difficult it can be to overtake on the Monte Carlo circuit. But a good result as well for Valtteri Bottas, who is another driver looking to reinsert himself into the title fight. He's starting 3rd tomorrow, Jamie, on the track.
Yeah, he's picked himself up well, hasn't he, since Imola? Since that crash he had with Russell, he's actually put his head down and just carried on his duties, and he's been getting the points when Hamilton's been winning races. So, he could prove to be the man to try and win it for Mercedes tomorrow if Hamilton cannot make those overtakes. So it's going to be interesting. As I say, if it all stays like that, Bottas is the man. But could we see a double Ferrari podium? I don't see why not. Carlo Sainz in 4th. Ferrari have clearly got the pace for it this weekend. Landon Norris 5th. That's another great performance by the young man just after he signed the contract as well. But Perez 9th. God damn it. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
And all of the top 10 as well starting on softs tomorrow, Jamie.
So no real effect differences, is there?
No.
Maybe softs are the way to do it tomorrow. But I just a bizarre way to end it. The last time I remember Monaco qualifying ending so randomly on the last lap was, I think it was 2006. And Michael Schumacher parked up the car on the penultimate corner, and then Alonso couldn't complete the lap, and everyone thought
that's a dirty tactic. That is.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Ferrari kept saying he ran out of fuel, but then Renault was saying no, that was tactical. You can't tell me that wasn't tactical. It felt like an execute order 66 moment. And but I can't remember, but I think Michael Schumacher got a penalty for it. I can't remember. It was ages ago. But let us know, folks, in the live chat page. What did you think about that? Rocky Does It All says, think Leclerc's gearbox is broken. Well, if that's the case, they have to change that, and that means he loses a few places, which actually might mean starting at the back. I don't know. Right now, I think Leclerc will just celebrate the moment.
Isn't it a 10-place grid penalty for changing the gearbox?
I think it is, yeah. It used to be a lot ruthless, like it would be at the back of the grid, but maybe it is just 10 places these days. I can't remember. So many rules now that I just lose track. But he's being interviewed now. He's clearly probably quite amazed with how it ended, but either way, I'm not hearing his interview, but he just went fingers crossed. So that might just be a thing of, we haven't got pole yet, but let's hope it does stay there.
Yeah, well, he has gone to sign the ceremonial pole position tyre, which...
Well, that's awkward, because if it's not him, then they've got the wrong guy.
Yep, so he's signed the tyre, and we're just waiting to see if... we're just waiting for the official confirmation, but, this could be investigated by the FIA, and we might not get any sort of change for it until the next few hours. But the grid popping up on the screen momentarily, but we've got it on our live stream as well. So as you can see, Charles Leclerc's in first position for tomorrow's race in pole for his home Grand Prix, followed by Max Verstappen, who is gaining some ground potentially on Lewis Hamilton, and he's able to stay there. Valtteri Bottas in third position for Mercedes, followed by Carlo Sainz in fourth. So 2 Ferrari cars in the top 4 of the grid tomorrow, which is a great sight to see. Landon Norris in 5th, Pierre Gasly in 6th in the AlphaTauri, Lewis Hamilton in 7th, surprisingly. I can't remember the last time he had a grid start as low as that.
I know. It just shows his standard, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sebastian Vettel in 8th, Perez in 9th, and Antonio Giovinazzi rounds up the top 10.
Can you imagine if Vettel pips Hamilton on the first corner?
That'll be something. Just yeah, a renaissance, a flashback to all those years ago when they were competing against each
Yeah.
other for the championship itself. But yeah, Jamie, I guess then we gotta think about tomorrow. Then what's going to be the result for tomorrow?
I mean,
How do you think
I
it's going to
don't know.
unfold?
I don't know how to predict yet because I still think it depends what happens to Leclerc. I still have this funny feeling he won't be at the front row for tomorrow.
All right then. So let's go through two scenarios then. If nothing changes and Leclerc starts in pole, how do you think it's going to unfold?
I mean, I think it could be just between Verstappen and Leclerc tomorrow. Unless we have some crazy stuff going on the first turn, which has happened. 2012 will tell you that, where Kobayashi and Pastor Maldonado and all that crashed on the first turns, and that changed a few things around. But I think, actually, this reminds me of 2012 qualifying, because Michael Schumacher did get pole in 2012, but because of the gearbox or whatever, he couldn't start. So it feels like that, where you want to celebrate it. And obviously in 2012, Schumacher was in his final season, so it was like, yes, finally he's got pole again at a Mercedes car. But no, that's what I'm worried about with Leclerc. So I think this could be between... Honestly, I think this is Verstappen's race. He's never won Monaco, unless I'm wrong. No, I don't know. We saw the last 5.
Do you think we'll see an early challenge from Verstappen like we have seen in the past few races from him?
Yes,
you think
he's got to. Otherwise, they might not get another chance. Because all you've got to rely on then is pits. Pretty much that. When it comes to Monaco. So I think we will see that. And Verstappen has proven that no matter who the driver is next to him, he will overtake them if the opportunity is there.
And what about Hamilton? Obviously, all the way down in 7th. It's going to be a big task for him tomorrow to try and get into the podium positions.
Well, I think he'd be delighted if Leclerc does have to go 10 places backwards at least, so that he can start in 6th. But I guess maybe he could look at the two drivers in front of him who are less experienced, of Landon Norris and Pierre Gasly. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, this is Landon Norris's 3rd season, so Landon Norris has only done Monaco once. Maybe that will help Hamilton out as well. Pierre Gasly, I think, is doing great for AlphaTauri again this season. You know, maybe Gasly is trying to prove... Well, he has, hasn't he? He won a race last year, but I feel like he keeps proving to Red Bull that they made the wrong decision. And maybe he is their ultimate wingman, because we got Perez in 9th at the moment, and he's just nowhere near as fast enough for Max Verstappen come the Saturday of qualifying. So I think for me, Max Verstappen's the favourite. Even if Leclerc is at the front row, I just think Max Verstappen is the man who's on a mission, and he knows he has to win. This is a must-win for Red Bull. They've got Hamilton exactly where they wanted. This is a must-win.
Yeah, there might not be a better opportunity for Red Bull and Max Verstappen to gain a huge advantage on Hamilton than what tomorrow provides, given that Hamilton could be starting in 7th or 6th, depending on what happens to Leclerc. And Max is so far ahead with him in either 2nd or 1st, given the grid positions. You know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars between the two championship rivals so far this season. So Hamilton's got a lot of work to do tomorrow, whereas Verstappen, it could be one of those occasions for him where he once again goes all out on that first corner. You know, as we saw in Bahrain, as we saw in Imola, as we saw at Barcelona as well the last time out. If he does that again to Charles Leclerc, this could be a race win opportunity for him tomorrow in the race as well. Shall we look at you got some of the chat comments before we sign off today, Jamie?
Yeah, we got William Gabriel saying 2006 Schumacher did same thing, which I mentioned before, and he said, where did he start at the back? I can't remember. I think he didn't get pole position at the end. He officially did after the qualifying had finished, but I think he did get taken a few places because of what happened. And Renault and I'm trying to remember the name of the team principal for Renault, Briatore, he went up to Bernie Ecclestone, and Bernie Ecclestone was famous for pushing him up against the wall. You don't miss with that midget. Raymonda says, Ferrari are cheating bastards. Normal service resumed. I wouldn't call it cheating. That was a clear mistake that time. It wasn't like the one with Schumacher in 2006. If you folks haven't seen it, go on YouTube after our stream and just watch it. It's so obvious. They said they ran out of petrol. I don't think they did. It's funny how they did it with the last lap to go in that qualifying. Bo Kamalo says Rosberg's done the same in the past to prevent Hamilton from pinching his pole. I can't remember, to be honest. William Gabriel again says, with some good strategy, let's hope Norris pulls an upset. Go McLaren. Who knows? Who knows? And Rocky Does It All says the cars are so big around Monaco, carbon fibre will rip and fly for sure. So I think that's it really for our comments. Actually, Esqual says everything is going according to plan for the great Ferrari master plan. Sounds like an evil laughs in there, doesn't it? Like, good.
Yeah.
We got Hyunkan Cho saying yes, Leclerc. Let's not celebrate too much. We need to wait to see what the review will be. I'm sure there'll be an FIA review. They review everything, so they'll definitely review that. So that's it really for comments, I think, Conor.
Cool. I think it's a good time to sign off then, Jamie.
It is, yes. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Thanks to Conor for the lead today, who got to witness the moment. Charles Leclerc might have just gone and ballsed it up, but we'll find out come tomorrow's race. Do join us tomorrow, folks. We'll be doing a live watch along tomorrow. 2 o'clock race start time, so do join us for that. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. Give us a like for the stream. We try and cover all the F1 races as possible. Moto GP as well. That's of course back next weekend. And if you're wondering what other sports are happening this weekend, we've also got the final round of the USPGA Championship. Can Phil Mickelson hold on and win another major championship in his glittering career? Let us know. So yeah, thank you very much. But yeah, do subscribe and we'll see you soon, and stay safe and have a good Saturday evening, folks.